Okay, so question number 7 was requested on page 102. That's in section 2.1, frequency and bar graphs and different types of diagrams related to frequency and relative frequency and cumulative frequency. So here's the data set here. Okay, I'm going to go through the whole question, not just 7C. First of all, the first question is, would you prevent this data in grouped or ungrouped format? In this case, there's no need to produce it in grouped format because there isn't a large variability in the data set. Right? You've got 4 or 5 different options that exist for your values, and so it doesn't really make a difference what's what. If it was a set of marks or something where you didn't have any repetitive values, then you would probably want to group the data. But in this case, it's perfectly fine. So that's A. B is create a frequency table and diagram. So that's what I'm going to do right now. It's kind of boring, okay, but it's the setup that's most important. Okay, so I've got the XI, that's the actual datum, that's the value. Okay, in this case, it's number of bottomless, it's a number of cups of coffee that people drink for a bottomless cup of coffee. And so you look at all the possible values that exist. In this case, the lowest is 0, and you want to do it in a particular order. And I think we have 3 and 4 is the largest out of all of them. You continue going on from whatever those values were. And then you look at the frequency. Okay, and there's a couple ways to do it. You can do a tally chart if you want to. But most people with a data set this small, they're just going to kind of go through and say, how many ones do I see, and so on. One good way to do it afterwards is to total them all up to see if everything actually comes out. So, first of all, for zeros, I've got 1, 2 zeros, so my frequency is 2. For my number ones, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in my data set. And then the number of 2's that I have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 2's. And then my number of 3's, a little bit less frequent, 1, 2, 3. And last but not least, number 4, I think only appears once. Now, of course, again, there's a check to do in all of this. You want to total them all up to make sure. So this is 10, that's going to be 20. And let me just make sure that we have 20 data values. 2 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 20 values, so at least it looks like we're okay. But you can always check over your work if you want to. Relative frequency, remember, is going to be the frequency divided by the total. So this is going to be 2 divided by 20. And so the relative frequency would be a percentage, basically. And this, of course, is 10%. Okay? 8 out of 20 is a 40%. You can, of course, use your calculator if you want to. 6 out of 20, that's going to be 30%, or 0.30. 3 out of 20, that's going to be 15%, 0.15. And then 1 out of 20, that's going to be 5%, or 0.05. Another check you can do for all of that, add them all up. They should add up to 1, okay? And in this case, 5 and 15 is 20, and 30 is 50, and 40 is 90, plus 10, 1.00, or 100% if you wanted to put them as percentages. The last thing, and actually what 7C was actually all about, which is all anybody asked for, was create a cumulative frequency diagram, okay? So first, to do that, we need to have a cumulative frequency, and then I'll erase this and do a little sketch over here as to what the diagram should look like to be successful and have all the criteria that make your diagram the best one that it could be, okay? So cumulative frequency is sort of a running total. That means that I take my frequency, and for 0, the cumulative frequency is going to be the number of individuals, or number of values that are 0 or less. Of course, it's the lowest. So there's only 2 values, 2 zeros that are 0 or less. If you look a little more closely, though, 1, the cumulative frequency is how many values are 1 or less. So it's going to be all of the 1s and all of the zeros. In this case, 8 plus 2, 10. 2, again, we've got 6 that are 2, but remember, cumulative frequency is 2 or less. So 6 plus 8 plus 2 are all of the numbers that are 2, 1, and 0, less than or equal to 2. Okay, in this case, the total is 16. For 3, the cumulative frequency is 3 or less, so this is going to be most of the data set. Okay, that's another 3, so that's 19. And then finally, the very last value, the cumulative frequency is always the same as the total number of values that exist. Because, of course, 4 is the highest value. How many values or what's the frequency of 4 or less? It's got to be everything, which is 20. Okay, what this totals to, it's not really applicable. It doesn't really total to anything that's useful, okay, for us, at least at this level, and any other ways that we're going to look at it. Okay? Can you pause it, Nick?